Welcome back to A Closer Walk. I'm Irving Kimball and I'm your host for our Experiencing God series. Today we're on Unit 4, Day 5, and today we're going to be talking about knowing where God is at work. Our memory verse for this week has been John 14:21, and Jesus said, "Whosoever has my commands and obeys them, he is the one who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I too will love him, and I will show myself to him." We want to deal with today on page 82 of your member books and page 113 of your youth guide, the idea that God always completes what he initiates. You see, when God starts something, when he initiates it, when he gets it started, he's the one that's responsible to complete it. I must pray about joining God. Have you ever heard that phrase? I got to pray about it. Well, a tender, sensitive heart is always ready to respond to God. If you have to pray about it, then it must not be from God. Because when God reveals something, that's not something you need to pray about. That's something you need to do. Okay, I know that goes contrary to what you've heard and maybe even what you preached. But you need to know where God is working. And when you know where God is working, then you realize that there are some things that only God can do. And when you recognize the things that only God can do, you don't have to pray about them. You just have to do them. Here's some things that only God can do. Number one is that no one comes to the Son unless the Father draws him. Only God can draw men to know Jesus. You see, when God is at work in someone's heart and someone is being drawn to him, God is the only one that can do that. God is the only one that can cause a heart to think on Jesus, to desire him. And when he's at work, you can see it in the people. Well, let me give you an example. When Jesus was in the crowd and Zacchaeus was in a tree, Jesus saw him because he was being drawn to Jesus. And Jesus recognized, well, if Zacchaeus in that tree, only God could have caused him to get up there because he's looking for me. And when Jesus saw Zacchaeus in the tree, he went to him. Another example that we see where God draws someone is that the woman at the well, when Jesus sat down at the well and the woman came to that well, God was drawing her to Jesus that he might offer her a drink of the living water. When you saw the woman with the issue of blood, you saw how she was pressing through the crowd in order that she might get to Jesus. Jesus recognized that only the Father can cause her to do that. And if the Father calls her to draw to me, then if she just touched the hem of my garment, then she will be made whole. You see, you are worth looking for. And God is looking for those who he can draw to himself. Things only God can do. Only God can draw people to himself. Only God can make people seek him out. Only God can show and reveal spiritual truths to someone who didn't know truth in the beginning. Only God through the Holy Spirit can convict the world of sin. Only God through the Holy Spirit can convict the world of righteousness and someone desires to be like God, the righteousness of God. And only God can cause judgment to come upon someone through the work of the Holy Spirit. See, when you see these things at work, when you see someone seeking truth, when you see someone that desires to know God, then you know that God is at work. And I'd like to encourage you, look for God's activities. Pray and watch to see what God does next. Make the connection. And then ask probing questions of the person. Ask questions like, how can I pray for you? Do you want to talk? Open up the door to allow God to continue using you to do what he's doing. Ask questions like, What can you see as a challenge for you? And maybe what is the burden that's really weighing on you today? See, if God shows us where someone desires a Bible study or a church, or someone desires to know Him better, then we should respond. When God speaks, He is about to accomplish His purpose. When someone responds to Him, He's doing something, and He's about to accomplish the thing that He has already begun to do. See, because what God initiates, God completes. Isaiah 46:11 says, "What have I said that I am about to do? What I have planned, that will I do." Whatever God has said, He's about to do that. Whatever God has planned, that's His will, and He will do it. So in summary, for this week, a tender, sensitive heart will be ready to respond to God. We don't have to pray about it. We just know it's God, and we do it. Pray and watch and see what God does next. And then make the connection. Ask the questions. Listen to see what God is up to. And know when God speaks, He is about to accomplish His purpose. And He invites you to join Him. And what God initiates, He will complete. I'd like to ask if you would review your memory verse, John 14:21. Whosoever has my commands and obeys them, he is the one who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I too will love him and show myself to him. Well, we'd like to ask that you would review your memory verse and go over it and say it several times. We ask that you would look for some truths that God has revealed to you today. Write it down and then pray and ask God, how can I apply this practically in my life? And then watch how you experience God. Don't forget to join us on our online blogs and Facebook and other media ways for you to communicate to us so that we can share in your experience and others around the world can share in how you're experiencing God. Look forward to seeing you on the next time.